That's
You
good.
can still have pizza.
We can get you some pizza.
You can
Keep
have
trying to
it.
sell that one. Can it at least start with that?
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, yeah, hey, welcome to Pizza Break, guys. All right, so that was, that was the second episode of stuff, and a bunch of stuff happened.
Yeah.
It ended with a bit of a cliffhanger. What do you guys think of Chad? Also, talk to me about this Chad person that you made up.
So
Thank you.
that's actually
Chad.
you did that when we when we were first putting the cast together and everything for this. We did some. If you're on Patreon, you can see all these. We did some short little sessions to lead up to this, so we could all like play together and stuff. And in my intro with Kiki, it was about we were about to go into a store, and there was a douchebag fucking with me named Chad. And I shoved his hockey stick into his face and then took off.
Yes.
And now Chad is back for vengeance, and I'm gonna bury him.
Yeah, Chad is back. That's
Oh,
totally.
I'm gonna
Chad's
take out
back.
every little bit of aggression I have towards the patriarchy out on that guy.
Hell yes, I love that.
I'm excited.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's, I think that stuff like that is a.
Get on Patreon, support this show, and then you can see the introduction of Chad.
And there were also some other intense moments in that game.
Yeah.
Engines are weird.
The engine room.
Yeah, good
Man,
Who
lord.
knew
Ouch to the
engines weren't
ribs.
so heavy?
We had
What a
some
time for a
crushed ribs.
fucking crit, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Like-
See, I swear, I almost started
What?
crying because Boris was like, "I believe in you,"
Yes.
and I rolled a net 20,
That was
and I
incredible.
was like,
I
"Oh
did not
my
make that
god,
connection
Boris!"
at all.
That was really
super
something
clutch.
else.
Actually,
That was so cool. It's
when
fun.
that happened, all three of you, remember, you rolled the natural
Yeah.
20. I think you did a dirty 20.
You had like
and
a 21.
12.
7 or
Yeah,
something.
27.
Yeah.
So again, that was like the round that everybody just flexed.
Yeah, man.
Fucking ladies coming together to flex.
Yeah.
And I finally
Totally.
had the ship under control.
Yeah.
Took
I
a little-
mean-
took a little time.
Yeah.
Precious.
How are we going down there?
honestly,
Y'all doing good back there?
MVP right there for
Yeah.
Piper.
Yeah.
Just
I
everything's
agree.
exploding. And he's
Dude,
just like,
you talked the guy off the ship.
That's
You
right.
literally
You
That's-
talked the guy off the ship.
That's so fun.
The power of
I had
suggestion.
to be creative, right? My hands are full. I didn't know what David would do if I let go of the helm in the middle of a fight because I don't know what I was doing. So I was like, I'm not going to do it. So what can I do? Magic.
These aren't the droids.
This ain't the ship you want to be on. You saw your buddies? He's like, yes, I'm my buddies. I'm out.
The one that batted away.
those things
That
like
was my favorite
remind me of a shadow version of. Have you ever read Weave World by Clive Barker?
Yeah.
Remember the skin thing? That's
Oh,
just like
that's
the
gross.
That's what I envisioned though, but just
The
jet
skin
black.
thing.
Now I imagine that too.
What was the one with
Wow.
oh my gosh, from Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, the Edge of Tomorrow. Remember those the alien?
Or the
things?
little fuckers from that, yeah.
There are aliens in Edge of
I
Tomorrow.
need, thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, I thought this
What
was
is it?
Mission Impossible.
oh,
No, no, no.
I was like, there's an alien
I was
in
like,
Mission
you're on
Impossible.
exactly the same page.
I like how
was
you're
like,
like, your brain's going like, that's not a spoiler, that's the plot. Spoilers?
Yeah.
yeah, Edge of
Yeah.
Tomorrow is really fucking good.
It's
Based on
really good, but those monsters,
comic.
the way that they're
The-
crawling around, it reminded me of those Freylings.
The way you described the Freylings and like how the stocks moved and then like how it kind of was like moving up, I think
Yeah.
his arm.
Arm flesh, yeah.
Yeah,
The arm flesh. The way that was happening, to me, it reminded me, like a big throwback here, but it reminded me of Little Nemo. If you remember,
Oh my God.
the Nightmare.
Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah,
Nightmare,
yeah.
and the Nightmare had like that ooze thing, and there was the Nightmare King.
Or
and-
Fern Gully.
That's
was
what I was
the
thinking.
fucking-
Just
yeah, that's on my
Texas,
brain.
yeah.
But
Texas.
for
What are those
old
things
cartoon
that come and
throwbacks,
take
I was
the
thinking
bad
of
guy
like
and
Nightmare
ghosts?
ooze
You know
from
what
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, the shadows.
shadows
thing
in the-
from Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were real.
See, in my brain, they looked like the little blue blob from Monsters vs. Aliens, but they were
But
black.
like black.
Yeah, they were black.
I'm gonna stick with
Much
my
less scary.
Yeah,
I know,
The
but I don't know.
Blade
Especially-
man.
Yeah.
That was just what I.
Yeah, but especially with the Seth Rogen voice now the Freylings aren't
Oh
terrifying
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I still
Those things were
Well,
think
it was when you split
horrifying
its
stuff.
skull in half and then it went, and I was just like, that to me sounds like a funny thing.
So
Oh, okay.
Like, phew.
one of the things I do really like about role-playing games is the way that, you know, descriptions and everything, like everyone is actually, I mean, they're all, you guys are all playing your own game. Like I, in my head, have, you know, the way things are kind of going and I push things in a direction. But I mean, you guys have a game that's in your mind and might not line up at all with what I have in my head. And I like that, you know, when you come to a table and play a game with a group of people, you make like 7 or 5 or 6 distinct stories that everyone leaves with. Like you create so much when you play these games because you don't you don't know what's happening in everyone else's mind.
Everybody's
Oh,
got
yeah.
a different mind movie.
That's true.
Yeah, different
Yeah,
mind
that's
movie.
true.
Sure.
Mind movie.
Going on
Yeah.
at the same
Mind
time.
movie.
But the cool thing
Makes
is
my
how they
eyes
all
rain.
come together and interact
Yeah.
in a unique way.
I mean,
So
because there's
that's-
still this like shared experience that happens in the space.
Yes.
Like
So
one of
you're-
us is fighting Clive Barker, one of us is fighting Nightmare, one of us is
Yeah.
fighting the Blue Blob, but we're all fighting together.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing that matters. That is,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Definitely.
And you still strangled it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is right.
That was
It
the best.
weird. It was so weird, but it was
Great.
wonderful.
Yeah, very cool.
That
Very
was-
different.
That
Very
was
different.
fabulous.
Yeah.
That was. I love Blossom.
Thank you.
I thoroughly love how my character came together from, again, just something so lighthearted and fun and silly in the moment, and then has become this really cool, not quite paladin, but definitely.
Oh,
a
come
nice-
on.
Dude,
You're
you're
such a
shaggy-
Yeah, but you're
paladin.
watching your realm crumble.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that, and that
How
actually,
is
I
that?
felt that.
I'm
by
pretty
the
sure
way.
Yeah.
you said
I saw you
Paladin
feel
of the
that,
Light
yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think we were talking about Paladin of the Gloom, which again is on the Patreon, so you guys can see some of the NPCs that David has already created. But in terms of hitting us in the feels tonight, the engine scene was just incredible with the three ladies stepping up. But then also, yeah, losing my realm, seeing it crumbling apart. And then when we all had to, that was another really cool moment, seeing everybody's different facets of their characters in this game versus the first game, right? I mean, again, the Bear Griff, we got to see the Bear Griff step up. We got to see the rocket skates. We got to see Boris tonight. We got to see the bagpipes that let you fly
You
and
flew
levitate.
away.
It was so cool.
Oh
Fly
my God.
and levitate. Amazing. And then,
Your arc was
again,
most
the Misty
precious.
Step side of like my Eladrin side that I didn't get to even talk about in the first game. So I really liked how everybody was able to show those different facets of their characters tonight. And again, another cool way.
Terrain navigation, ball fight navigation, luck dragon navigation. We got to experience a lot of different facets there.
That's fair. So, I mean, as your characters develop, and having played like one session now, and I'm gonna ask you this question like a bunch of times as we move through the series. What's going on in, like I said, in your characters' heads? I mean, I understand that there's this incredible loss that's going on with Damon, and but what is everyone like going through? I mean, certainly there's this huge adventure thing that I guess like this adventurous thing that's happening because as you had said in the previous break, like this is, I mean, your group, they do this, right? They go adventure.
I'm a bard.
Yeah.
For me, like I can't even like my character. It's not like he's just a silly character, but he doesn't like the reality of what's going on doesn't have quite the same impact, like I guess emotional impact on him. And so for me, it's just like there's a constant journal in my head as I'm like writing these down for epic tales and songs to come forth.
Yeah.
Each new experience is kind of like another one. And so we as we toss him and everything else, and we fight on the ship, then everything that was going through his mind was like, oh, this will make for a great story.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So like as far as like dice telling a story, how did that work out for your character, May? Like, and how do you find that like works out in the games you can play? Like, just how the way the dice shape things.
I mean, it's.
That's my favorite.
We're gonna mean that.
I mean,
That was the sound of the smoke coming out of her eyes.
that's always been my favorite part is that I feel like I don't have control over the fate of my
Yes.
character. Like,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
always been my favorite part. That's why I always, whenever we build characters, I always go by dice roll rather than like suggestion or the pooling and stuff like that because I always like, fate having a hand in building her.
Amen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
I think it was really cool that you kind of went into Boris to kind of save the situation, right?
Yeah, well,
But
yeah.
then it turned out that it was actually you
Me.
who
Yes.
ended up saving the
I
day.
told you, man.
Yeah.
I almost got emotional.
Yeah, really, seriously.
When,
That
and
voice-
I
again,
love that.
the fate of the dice, I rolled that 20.
Yeah.
Boris told me he believed
Yes.
in me, and I
That's so
rolled
great.
the 20. Like,
D&D
Perfect.
smiling
That's
much.
Yes.
it's
Perfect.
much.
It was a really cool moment. Like, you let the bear out because the bear's the strong one, and the bear failed, and
Yeah.
you became the strong
Yeah,
one.
you were the
Yeah,
strong one.
That was.
Inner strength.
You were the strong one all along.
Yeah.
She's been growing a lot.
Power was always
Yeah,
used.
2 games. That's a lot of.
But as far as dice telling the tale, the fact that I keep rolling horrible for initiative is hilarious.
It's just like,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's
so
You just
funny.
yeah.
cringe.
It like becomes almost. It almost has become like an active decision for your character to be like, hold up.
Yeah.
By the
Frustration.
time it gets to you, you unleash something
You
insane, and then you
surveyed
obliterate-
everything, yeah, and then you
obliterate
just, like-
it.
Yeah.
I
Which
mean,
helps.
True.
They always say that like a cleric's job is clean up, but
Yeah.
you put it to like a different level.
But it's really funny though. I mean, again, I don't think like for initiative I've rolled above a 5.
No.
I don't think
Oh
so.
my
Yeah,
God.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
so
it's-
either.
3?
I don't
Yeah,
think.
yeah, that was a
Three
1
different
plus 2. Yes, I rolled a 1 and like yeah.
Oh,
like
I don't think
a
I've
five
ever
plus two.
seen you roll
No.
that low for initiative consistently ever. And I've
Who
been-
was that? Was that you or you that rolled the 1 and then you rolled the 2?
Yes.
It didn't count because he
Yes.
ended up
Yeah.
but I
Yes.
rolled a
Thank
1 and then rolled a
goodness.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah,
Yeah,
unsafe.
but I rolled a 1 and
She
then a
has a
5.
good
So, yeah. But yeah, as far as the dice telling the story, that is interesting. And also the fact that we were able to save Corinne. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
bringing
yeah,
in
I
the-
couldn't-
Yeah.
Full
Which is very
disclosure,
cool.
completely
Sweet.
fucking forgot about that guy.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rolled a.
You saved it. It was awesome.
That was a
You
crit.
crit
Yeah.
for that too.
Yeah.
I did. I
Yeah.
critted.
I
two
fully
flying by.
forgot he was with
I know.
us.
Right.
In the way you
Yeah.
sold it, like, and where's Corinne?
Yeah, we all,
Yeah.
we all
Oh.
forgot in the
Crit,
moment.
all of us
Yeah.
are like,
But again, the
Corinne's
rolling
on
the
shit.
20 when it counted, talk about clutch.
That was pretty
Great.
cool. You're like, does anyone want to save Corinne? And we were like,
Oh
we looked around really quick. He's like, oh!
no! The sad thing is, I really like Corinne,
Yeah.
and just
Same, yeah.
in my like own
Universally
selfishness of worrying about myself,
Well, no,
fully
because you were
forgot
saving-
about
You
it.
were saving Blossom.
Yeah, I mean, we had a
You're
bonding
always
moment,
saving.
right?
Trying to save me. It was
I was
awesome.
saving myself.
I mean, but clearly, Kaylee is more important than an NPC.
Yeah, surely,
But
100%.
in this world, like you can't value life in that way. But I guess I did. You know what I mean? I guess I made a choice as a
Yeah.
player, which reflects on the character. That like Kiki was like, "Fuck that guy. I'm gonna work with my friend."
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Don't worry,
I mean, that makes sense.
Sky Piper of the Wilderness
Yes.
tomorrow was right
Thank
there.
God Sky Piper was there.
Yes.
Yeah, your little ditty when you were
Rocket
doing was the most
hair.
precious thing. Just imagine you on the box too.
Yeah.
You're rotating on a box.
I guess if you change your middle name to Cessna, Piper Cessna.
Well, and as far as
The Pipeteer.
as you guys were talking about, like, dice telling the story, we always have the idea of what we want to do, but whether or not we get to do it is
yeah.
completely until
Yeah.
dice. So,
Yeah.
so it's like Piper, he's a bard. He's never manned any ship before, much less a flying ship.
Right.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, and like he had this awesome mental image of himself going up there and debonairly grabbing the helm and just like, haha, I'm amazing Captain Piper. And he goes, haha,
Spun around.
he's small, he doesn't weigh much or have much mass, and he just got so running around there and
Oh my God, did you
flying
spin
stuff.
around upside
Yeah,
down?
Yes.
fully spun around the wheel.
Fully spun around.
He's on a soapbox.
Ears
Yeah.
across the
If you
ground.
guys were below deck and you saw him, it was not very debonair of what he was doing right
I
there.
saw it.
Yeah, so he was Mike
Yeah,
the
that's how I
Show.
got the paper cut.
And then you got that.
Yeah, you got that devastating
Kaylee,
paper.
Kaylee, why you gotta do that to us?
That inner finger.
Why you gotta do
do it again.
Why you gotta
Do it again.
Oh
So,
man.
Has it ever happened to you guys?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yes.
That's what we
I think
do.
he's talking to all of us.
Yeah, we got pain.
Days of PTSD. All right.
Yes,
Yeah.
severe.
We'll
That's the unresolved trauma my therapist talks to me about.
The paper
In-between
cut
paper
between
cut.
my pink.
Oh
never forget
boy.
Sorry.
pain.
I'm not sorry.
You're not sorry at all.
But this is good because we're on our way now, as far as the adventure goes.
Yeah, we're on that way.
Successfully brought everybody together.
I thought you were going to say we're on
Trust
our
the
way to
group.
healing from our trauma.
Yeah, yeah. In this case, it's more
We're on
like
our
rest
way.
the group, right? So it's on our way. And so now we are together, again, had our first encounter with the Frailings directly, fighting them.
Ooh, we got to figure out more about why when you look at it. What was happening to you when you were looking at him? When
Oh,
you guys
we
were
were
straining
paralyzed.
to
Yeah,
look
they were
them?
trying to tear away my soul.
We were
or
basically
something.
becoming like
Were you,
paralyzed.
okay, so you were
Yes.
like
Yeah.
locked in. Like, did you make eye contact with it?
Yes, if
Okay.
you make eye contact with it, it can paralyze you and possibly worse.
Is eye contact or
So
just
if you
seeing
see
it?
them again.
So it has kind of like a weird hollow gaze because it's got little like pits for where its eyes would be. Like you just sort of like have like a shadow and then they have like two holes where like its eyes would be, and that's
like
the thing.
Vanta Black
Yeah,
versus
that's-
just
Like a
regular.
Dementor.
And those things just kind of like
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
there's a gravity in that
Yeah.
space, and it just
Pulls you
sort
in.
of it kind of it takes your strength away.
It rips us apart, kind of like you said, the mentors. But I
Yeah.
guess reality, because it's the void.
Bob, what's your favorite thing to throw at us in D&D?
Yeah, shadows.
He loves
What?
shadows.
Shadows and intellect devourers, baby.
Shadows.
Shadows and intellect devourers.
That's
Oh my God! I hate intellect. I made the most busted thing in one of my games one time.
Was that the one that we were all there for?
I don't. I think.
No, yeah.
I think.
Yes.
I was there.
Yes, and yes. Oh, that was.
I got so lucky I
Oh, that
lived
was
because
so
it was
good.
like I'm such a cool bard, and then this intellect
Oh, yeah.
devourer just hits me in the face. And I'm like, please, I don't want to die. Please, I just made this guy, Bob. And we actually hadn't played a bunch of games together, but I know that like sometimes when it comes down to it, you're ruthless. And I mean, with stuff like that, you have to make it a little bit lethal. There has to feel like there's actual peril, because if that actual peril doesn't exist, it makes it so the game doesn't feel as real. You know what I
Right.
mean?
But the problem, of course, with encounters is like, there's some things that you take and they might take you down or down you, and then
Yeah.
a companion can bring you back up. But then there's the worst ones are the ones that don't down you, they convert you.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Like, there's nothing-
Don't lose to that.
There's
Yeah.
nothing that sucks more in playing a game like this, where like if you're knocked out or whatever, like at least something happened to you. But when there's an effect that incapacitates you, and it's like, well, my turn, I do nothing.
Yeah,
Like you don't even
And
get
we know
to
all
make a
about that,
death
don't we?
save. You get
Yeah,
to
that
do
is
nothing.
never
Like,
again.
that is the
Yes.
worst.
Yes.
Where
So
it's just like, oh shit, well, fuck. I'm gonna just someone else go, please.
Next.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, to the people that I guess like run stories, like how do you guys get around that? What do you guys do? Like what are some of your strategies for
Oh
dealing with
man,
stuff like that?
I never do that shit to my players. I never have when when certain types of monsters or creatures or bad guys or whatever have effects that can like stun them and stuff. I never want to do it in such a way where it incapacitates them and makes them unable to do anything. So like I just
more than
ran a
just
session, like wrapped up a story arc recently at like one of my home games or whatever, where they fought a mind flayer, which had a different name in my game, but he didn't do like mind blasts or any of that stuff. He used telekinesis, so he was like
Okay.
picking them up and throwing them. And then his unique ability, instead of stunning, was if you failed a wisdom save, you had disadvantage on attack rolls against him because he was in your head and knew what you were thinking.
Ooh, that's
So
cool.
I did it that way
Cool.
instead,
I
so
love
they
that.
still get
That's
to do
nice.
shit.
I do that.
You gave him my
Um,
mantra.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of
I
cool.
basically, yeah. So even with like stuns, if like a monk or something has like a stunning effect, instead of it stunning, I'll put a penalty on the player instead of making them incapacitated. So it's just like, yeah, this fucking rocked you. Like you take this much damage, and also like, you're deafened or you're blinded or something for like one round, as opposed to being fully incapacitated. Unless it makes for a really good story moment that really connects with the character, right? Like if you have a whole fight situation going on and somebody ends up like lower in initiative and something bad happens to their friend or a character they care about,
Right.
you can make that be a stunning thing that happens to them, so they have to watch it.
Yes.
And that can become like a really big character building thing as long as you can like let them off the hook at the end of that.
But-
Like
As you're saying that, from now on, I'm implementing a house rule where it's only going to happen to NPCs from now on. Because
that's kind of how
taking it away from the players. I've done that in the past because it's a
It's a
major
powerful
villain.
tool.
It's a final boss
Right.
villain, but it's still so bad that it takes away the joy of the game.
Yeah.
And you guys know my rule number one is we're here to have fun, and so because it hurt that player so much, I'm never going to do that again.
It is one of those things where like if it doesn't serve the story
Right.
and it doesn't serve a character's development, then why punish your players?
Right.
Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Of course.
Like the point of the game is to play, and when you take away somebody's turn,
Yeah.
they're not playing anymore. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And I don't like that when that happens to me, so I'm not gonna do that to somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
That's just kind of my
Oh, you're right.
philosophy. However, sometimes, like I said, sometimes it can be rad as hell, and sometimes players need to be, this is gonna sound so bad, certain players need to be put in their place. Like, there are problem players out there, and sometimes you gotta bring the fucking hammer down.
Now that's a different topic and a different episode.
That
We can
is-
talk about that.
but-
You know I.
But even then, you don't want to be mean. You just want to make them realize, like, this is the consequence of your actions,
Yes.
right? Like, you cannot do these things that you're doing and get in the way of other people's game without suffering some kind of consequence.
Remind them that
But yeah.
the DM can do this. if he
Yeah.
so
DM
chooses.
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do this, yeah. Like, it is like, I have this power. I don't necessarily have to use it.
Yes.
But if you are getting in the way of other people's enjoyment, I will.
Yeah.
So It's a good point.
And then getting back to the lethality of the game, we've all had interesting encounters. Just so you guys know, Kaylee, see how nice and benevolent and wonderful David looks? It's all a facade.
What are you talking about?
It's not a facade at all.
It's all a facade.
Look,
If he ever tells you roll odd or even, run away.
That's not. I never do that except for a couple of times.
if it's really and truly, if I am gonna be brutally murdered on the internet by a DM, I nobody better than me.
That is true. If we're gonna
Like-
be brutally murdered by any DM, it would
Yeah.
be David.
Hands down.
However, it has happened.
What an honor.
Because at least it's gonna be rad as hell
One
when
of
it
our best
happens.
So
friends-
he's
like,
brutally murdered your
Oh, yeah.
characters.
As long as
Never
it's
me.
done with
No.
style,
Yes,
Claire,
it's
we're
done with
okay.
stuff. Because again, when you have player deaths, you're gonna remember that for the rest of your life.
that, and if you
Right? No matter how many games you play, right? You're gonna no matter
Yeah.
how many years pass.
if you
Player
have a
deaths, ship
good
deaths.
Yes.
if you have
yes.
a good storyteller
Ship
sitting
deaths.
at the helm of that, right? Like if somebody's a really good storyteller sitting at the helm of that, it doesn't feel like you got fucked. It feels like my character died and it was impactful to me, impactful to everybody, and impactful to the story itself.
absolutely.
Like it becomes, it becomes Boromir in
Yes.
Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
exactly.
Right? Like
That's true.
it becomes important, and
Yes.
that's the mark of a
Worst
good
death ever.
storyteller when they're still using your character's death to continue to tell the story.
And if,
Absolutely.
you're mad,
That's-
and if you're mad at
Yeah.
anyone after that, it's this.
It's your and you're
It's
not
true.
mad. Yeah,
That
you're
guy-
mad at
it
this. That's
And that's when that guy ends up on the roof of the building.
That's
across
when-
the street.
that's when you-
it ends up in the microwave. That's when it ends up.
Microwave.
That's when it ends up on the
Yeah.
railroad train tracks.
Yeah.
And gets
Oh my
crushed.
God.
Oh yeah, man.
Microwave.
Oh yeah.
No, I've done every one of these. I'm like, Bob, you see me.
I haven't.
Like,
Does it feel
Hey,
good to be
we see
seen?
into each other's hearts. Oh yeah.
Well, we've all been there.
Sometimes you roll out or
Sad days.
I've never done the
Run away
railroad
from
track,
the
but the other
set?
two,
Yes.
I mean, I've
100%.
had tapped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But not a railroad track.
My roommate bought a
Really?
like a timeout chair. A dice timeout chair. The dice fits right in the middle of it, and you put a little
Timeout
dunce
dungeon.
cap on it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Are you gonna bring it? Are you gonna
Yeah,
bring
I'm
yours?
bringing
He does
it.
that
I got a
instead of
dice
my
I
game.
need
game.
it. I needed it today.
Yeah, we needed it.
He's like, this dice gets the timeout chair.
And I'm stubborn as shit though with my dice. Like I'll get dice. I'm a dice goblin.
Of course.
I'll get dice specifically for the character that I'm playing,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll get really stubborn because it's like I'll bring
like a
backups,
Super
but
Bowl.
these are the dice for the character.
You're
So
the
they
one
goddamn,
who's
even
They
if they're
need to
rolling
work.
consistently
Yes,
bad, I'm
they
like,
need to
this
work.
is their dice. I must stick with it,
Yes.
even though I have thousands of others to
yeah.
choose
I
from.
didn't see that one.
Oh, and that's also another tale about the dice changing the story. Or like again, you might have this brilliant character concept, but that one particular set of dice that you got, they just
Yeah.
roll mediocre and horrible, and then that changes the character, changes the personality, makes them more grim and just darker and just more bitter. That can happen too. I mean, I know people that's happened to.
Bob, is this sort of like a guy named Rob,
Robert.
Absolutely.
and he's your friend
Yes.
from
Speaking
that
for
place.
someone else.
Yeah.
My friend at
Different
work.
Yes. But yeah, this was a fun game. I mean, it's always fun gaming together, and gaming forges friendships. It forges lifelong friendships. It stimulates imagination and creativity. It's good for game therapy, right? Mental health. That's the other thing, and it's amazing. It's stimulating, and it's wonderful.
Also, we had to jump over rocks, and that fucking gave me the sweats.
Right. Again, this was
I
a
like
game that
that.
didn't have a lot
I
of
like that.
combat.
I
in
like
it, but
that
it was
a lot.
mostly like
It was
skill
really
challenges
stressful.
and
Yeah.
And it was
stressful.
very like, all right, you're falling, you're
Oh,
falling.
yeah.
And it was like there were
Yeah.
stakes because you were making them.
Yeah.
It was like, while you make your
Cataclysm.
decision and it's going too far. Oh my god, hold on. I
Like
wanna do
every
it.
time my turn was coming up, I was thinking like, okay, how can I save anyone who falls?
Right.
What can I do to save my friends?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it shows where your
Apocalypse.
core is. Where
You
the
know,
core of
it's
you
us
is.
fighting against an apocalypse, and then dealing with that. Like again, that was one of those things I was going to talk to Corinne about in the map room, was making sure that he was okay, because we both just saw the destruction of
Collapse of
the
your
Civil
realm.
War. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
like you're
But instead you guys were-
experiencing.
But instead we're getting-
Yeah.
You're inside a dryer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that also helped not have to deal with that, because instead, we could deal with the, bumps and bruises and the urgency of that situation and making sure you
Do you
guys are
think
okay.
that stuff is going to come up for your character? Do you think
Oh,
that
yeah,
that,
definitely.
Yeah, you're gonna
that
need to-
trauma and stuff is going to come up?
Definitely.
So-
Do you well, I guess you don't want to tell us, but like, how do you think that's going to affect the decisions that he makes going forward, right? Like, where,
Right. in all seriousness, you guys saw how when we were going against the Crows, right? So against the Court of Autumn, it was, again, I was still in the middle of having almost been assassinated, and so I felt very justified in my attack against them. However, now that our entire realm has been destroyed, the next time I come across some Crows or survivors from the realm, I might not be so willing to just go to war against them. It would be, it's almost like enemy mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're in that harsh environment, so we're just trying to survive together, which I think would be interesting.
How willing is Damon to sacrifice himself to save his world?
To save the world?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without question. He's
Without
a knight.
question?
He's a knight of the Summer Court.
I figured.
My duty is to the queen and the realm of summer.
What if you had to choose between the two? Queen or realm?
Ooh.
I have to write
Great,
something
good
down while you answer that.
question.
And it's not related, probably.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh, no.
No, that's fine. It would be probably to the queen's mission, whatever the queen has.
That's a really good answer. Yeah.
So whatever her legacy.
What would
is,
she want you to do?
Yes, it's
kind of a
to,
thing.
yeah, to honor
What
her.
would you guys choose, queen or realm? Just curious.
Oh, like
Arcade City.
Arcade
or-
City versus the Queen? I'm picking the Queen. Don't even. Like Kiki would go for the
Arcade City
Queen
can
so
burn.
I was
fast.
imagining if you were in
Chaotic.
his position.
In
what
his
you would do.
position?
Yeah.
I probably would.
I don't even
Without,
know.
yeah, what he's
Yeah,
doing,
what
I would,
he's doing.
yeah, I would
Really
probably
do whatever the queen
do what the,
tells.
would, yeah, like sort of do what the Queen wants. But at the same time, if the Queen was like, no, save me, I'd be like, fuck you, you're selfish, and then save
I
me.
would-
It's
yeah,
not
she would never be-
I
she
guess
would
it's
never do that.
situational.
Yeah.
That's a weird.
She
That's
would
a,
never do that.
What about you, Kaylee? What
Yeah.
would you do?
Well, my instinct was realm. It was realm, not
Yeah.
queen. And I don't know why. Not that I don't trust the queen or something, but my heart, you think
It
the
is
queen
that
has the best
w-
interest of her
Yeah.
Of her
people.
court.
But then, maybe I just always question people in positions of power. So
That's cool.
I mean,
Here's a
that's
question.
good to do.
Who would you
Okay.
save, Tuca or a coot?
Why you gotta go?
Oh, that was
do
cold-blooded.
that.
You guys made me choose queen or realm.
Yeah, but that's
Okay,
not.
but that's
Tuca
not
or
two
a
cute
coot?
bears.
Oh my
Do you
God.
understand that
I
you're
know, two
literally?
cute bears.
I asked you in your mission as this great, not paladin, like would you choose queen or country? And then you're asking her like, you got one cute bear, you got another cute bear. They're both your best
One of
friends.
them gets
One of them
dead.
dies.
Which one?
mom or dad, mom or dad. Back
Yeah.
and forth.
That was a very not paladin thing
sorry,
to say.
sorry.
No, but seriously, now you have to answer.
I could say it without question. It would be Tuca.
Okay.
And
Because it's part of your
love
serious
a
concept.
coot, but Tuca and he's my brother.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he's of my realm. As much as I love my bear grip. It's a
Okay.
rude question.
Just
It was a
asking.
good, it was a
Yeah,
good
good
question.
question.
It was
Good question.
I'm sorry.
I will do everything in my power as a player and as a
It's
character to
rude.
not make you have to make that choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a good place. I know that you guys have a lot of questions out there, and we want to answer them all. But I think this is a good place to call it for this pizza break.
Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
a lot of invisible pizza.
You guys, yeah, you
Yes.
guys go get some pizza. You guys get some pizza. I will not get pizza, but I mean, I'll do a different thing.
And then also make sure that they click right there or there.
Yeah,
and
wherever
then
the
follow
thing
up with
is.
you.
Thanks
Pineapple,
for-
pepperoni, and
Paul,
banana pepper.
Like and
Yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe and donate pizza.
Like and subscribe.
I feel like
hope
we'll
we got
have
that
some kind of.
Yes.
There'll be a magic
Thing.
Like and
thing.
Yeah.
subscribe,
We're
right?
gonna do it.
We're just gonna give our editor that much more work. Put one here. Over here, I need like a little happy bird.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Please don't. No! My beautiful baby boy.